Drafting the Magic features the thoughts and opinions expressed by Christian Ilton, Eric Pessolano, and today's guest, and do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of the Walt Disney Company or any of its subsidiaries.
Hi, Christian. We're back at it. Different type of topic here today in honor of the 37th anniversary of the hit movie classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's exactly what we're going to be drafting today. Attractions of the Disneyland Resort that are one of those three things. But a fun fact about that movie, neither of us have ever seen it.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know the significance of this movie. I've never heard of it. I take that back. I've heard of it, but do I care? Not particularly. But here we are. We're doing it. I wore a Dynaco shirt today because, planes, trains, automobiles. Everybody needs fuel, so might make sure you stop at your favorite Dynaco location.
I have my Dead Men Tell No Tales shirt on, which is from an attraction that we cannot draft today. So that's
but
appropriate.
it's also thanks to all the dead men is all because thanks to all these fuels that we're using apparently, and we're all gonna die one day. So you're you're in line as well. Anyway,
Off to a great start. That's what we're here for.
oh my goodness. All right. Well, yes. Planes, trains, automobiles at the Disneyland Resort specifically. So you and I were having this conversation. I was like, but does the Millennium Falcon count as a plane? Because it's kind of a starship and like all the or gosh, whatever it is. Sorry to everyone who I just offended by using a Star Trek term or something. I don't know. But like does a Peter Pan boat count because it flies? Plane? I don't know.
Right. There's boats, there's rockets, there's spaceships.
There's a bunch of stuff here that I don't know. But
Well,
boats I know are not on the table, right? Because it's not planes, trains, automobiles, and boats.
So
But if
no
it's a
boats.
flying boat, is it a plane? I don't know. Anyway.
It's not. No, it's not a plane.
You know what I do know, Eric?
Hmm.
I know that everybody watching this video right now needs to go like, subscribe on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on everywhere else, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Make sure you like, subscribe everywhere that you need to make sure that we keep this train a chug. Oh, train.
Ah.
Just make sure you're following us. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out pretty soon. So make sure you don't miss a moment of it. Also on YouTube, make sure that notification bell's rung. You know the deal, because so you never miss another episode, just like every other YouTuber says. But just do it for us. You like us. Just do it. Just do it. Well, Eric joining us usually from the wine country, but today all the way up in Oregon, it's
Hello.
Amber Dominguez. Amber, how are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well.
That's
I can't
awesome.
complain.
That's awesome. Yes, you're in a beautiful snowscape right now, and you're
I
taking
am.
time out of your day to join us here on Drafting the Magic. Well, we thank you for that. Before we jump into this crazy draft of planes, trains, automobiles, and also some other things on the site, we'll explain that in a second. Just tell us a little bit about you, how you became the Wine Country Moms on Instagram, and everything else that you've got going on, and really the love for Disney that you have.
Oh my gosh, do we have all day? No, we don't.
We can figure it out.
Okay, so so I grew up in Southern California, and of course Disney, if you're in Southern California, Disney is just part of the landscape, part of the lifestyle in Southern California. And when I moved to the wine country in college, I just became obsessed again with Disney because I realized that I still loved it and I missed it. And when I had children, I created the Wine Country Moms as a support group for parents, mothers that were new to motherhood. And in doing so, I discovered that Northern California is a huge hub for Disney fanatics. I mean, it's just saturated. And so with my support of mothers, I also started focusing on Disney. And so it was through my constant going to Disney with my children. We have this adorable little airport in Santa Rosa. I would get on the plane and fly my kid down for the day, and we would do mommy and me trips and fly home, and people would see this and they would be like, oh my gosh, how do you do this? And how can I make this happen? And how can I make Disney easy? And how can I make Disney approachable? And that's just kind of how it got started. Just me living my life and people seeing it and thinking, wow, I want to do this too. And okay, here's how you do it.
Let's make it work. I love it.
Let's make it work. You can do it. You can do it. I promise.
That's
So,
awesome. And you had mentioned to us when we were talking to you about how you would just take those day trips by plane, and that kind of got our gears working. And Eric had gotten
yeah.
a suggestion from another friend, Eric. You had talked about planes, trains, and automobiles, and it kind of works perfect because she literally took a plane to get to Disneyland on these
Yes.
days. Like
Not a boat, a plane.
that not a boat.
Yeah, not
No
a boat.
boats.
No boat. No boats. No,
No
no.
boat.
I love the idea behind what you do. Our episode last time with Christy, who is somebody who helps people travel plan, but in her forte is, the outfits and how you should dress
Yeah.
when you go to the parks. Now we have another unique circumstance where it's not just how do you get there, but it's how do you get there quickly and efficiently and get in everything you can
Mhm.
do in the short period of
Right.
time. So I think that's really awesome, and that's really a cool thing.
I will say there is nothing I can think would be worse, and this is my respect for Amber. I can not imagine doing a full day at Disney and then having to go to John Wayne. I would I would lose my mind. Or Ontario or LAX, God forbid. Like I cannot imagine. I've done it in Florida, right? Because in Florida, mine, yeah, that's true. But like doing it here, I would just like, oh, I don't know if I can do it.
It's not bad, especially if you fly like Alaska Airlines.
Hmm.
They're usually on time, but
Yeah.
if you go for those other ones, you're sitting there for a little bit. So you got to
Yeah.
plan it right. But
My
Hey, I hope Alaska Airlines heard that.
Yep.
All good
yeah,
things.
Yep.
roll in the
Yep.
dough, Alaska.
Yep. Eric loves Alaska Airlines, so he's a he's a founding member, I think, or something like that. Anyway, we have a draft to do today, Eric. We are talking
Yeah.
planes, trains, and automobiles, and also spacecraft, because planes, there aren't really many
I mean, they
planes.
fly.
It's kind of a plane,
Fine. It's
Is
fine.
sort of.
As long as there's imagination left in the world, there will
You're
be
darn
planes
right.
of all
That's right.
kinds.
Bring a
That's
Walt
right.
Disney quote or whoever it was. Anyway,
Keep moving forward.
we keep moving
Keep moving
forward. We
forward.
don't rest on our laurels. We keep flying. But Eric, a big one today, and we
Yeah.
have our prototypical rule of we have to have experienced it to draft this experience. Otherwise, you're just shooting, pins at the or darts at a whatever. You know what I meant to say. But anyway,
Darts at a
but
dartboard, pal.
darts at a
That's where you
dartboard. I
usually
was
throw
going
them.
for that.
Yeah.
But we do have a rule of we have to take a plane,
Yeah.
train, and an automobile in our first three picks. So
Yes.
we need to make sure that we are validating the title of this draft by doing it first and foremost.
Yes.
We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that influences things. You have the first pick today, which I think is somewhat of a upper hand here.
I think so too.
Because you could get some good ones right out the gate. But that being
Yeah.
said, if you go I don't know, an automobile, if you take the Autopia car as number one, do it. Do it. Oh, I really want you to take that. Anyway, I mean, I really want to take that. Don't take it from me. But if you take an automobile, I could go plane. We could
Right.
So we
They
can
don't have to, yeah, it doesn't have to be in the order of
Mhm.
planes, trains, automobiles. We just have to take one of each in the first
As
three.
long as they're in the mix.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's do it. This is Drafting
Right.
the Magic, episode 48, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles of the Disneyland Resort. We have Amber Dominguez joining us as our guest judge today, and Eric Pesolano. You have the first pick in this draft.
Yeah, I put
I'm
my head
ready.
down. I put my head down because I already typed in what I'm taking here at number
Oh.
one. I'm not taking a plane just yet. I think I can hold off on that. And I'm definitely not taking Autopia, Christian. So gosh,
You
I
are
hate-
a smart man.
I
Can you
hate-
imagine that was Amber's number one?
I know, totally out of left field. Like, oh, I thought you were going to take Autopia.
No.
Yeah, I sorry to disappoint you during this fine holiday season. My number one pick is fairly simple for me. When I was putting my list together, I said this has to go number one, and I don't think there's another thing that could go number one. And I'm taking what technically is the only real train that exists at the resort. Yeah, I'm taking the Disneyland Railroad at number one. It is the train of trains. Walt loved trains. Give me all the trains. I have the Disneyland Railroad at number one.
That's a pretty good spot to go. I would have taken it if you didn't. So
Yeah,
at least we're on the same lines as that. Amber, what do you think of Walt Disney's favorite attraction? Tell us what your thoughts are on the Disneyland Railroad.
I absolutely love the train. And I have to say that it's been an interesting ride with this attraction. When you have children, all you hear about is, I want to go on the train. I want to go on the train. I want to go on the train. So when I'm with my kids, I don't want to go on the train because that's all they want to do. But as an adult by myself, I love nothing more than sitting on the train in silence and going around the park, especially this time of year when the lights on Small World are so gorgeous and you go through Small World and it's just so colorful. And yeah, I kind of knocked it out of the park with that one.
Man, out of the park?
Well done.
We went out of the park with it? Don't say that.
Dinosaurs. I mean, the train has dinosaurs.
It's cool. Yeah, but it has a terrible view of Tiana's too. So let's not give it all.
It's awful. How did we get like this? Like,
let's not give it all its credit. All right, let's just calm down on Eric's pick here.
Yes, it's the railroad's fault that it has a bad view of Tiana's.
Yep, railroad's fault.
They consulted the railroad, and that's what they gave us. So.
Yeah.
It also has a missing train station currently, or something over at New Orleans. That piece is still in the because it caught on fire or something. Anyway, I'm just saying.
It's all fixed now.
All right. Well, there goes that was the only fight I had.
You tried.
All right. I tried. I forgot that they fixed it.
I tried.
All right. Well, that's a good round one pick, Eric, taking Walt Disney's very own Disneyland Railroad. So now I go into my round one pick, and I will not take a train because I don't have to take a train. So I'm going to take a plane or an automobile, and I'm going to take the automobile that I think is the reason why the land is as amazing as it is. Give me the automobile of the car at Radiator Springs Racers. I think that automobile specifically made the land, saved Disney California Adventure from definite ruin. Cars Land obviously was the last lifeline of Disney California Adventure, and they knocked it out of the park, and Radiator Springs Racers is absolutely the reason why. Give me the vehicle, the automobile on Radiator Springs Racers in my first pick, Eric.
I was really hoping you were going to take Luigi's.
Yeah. Hey, those are cool cars. Calm down.
I know.
Amazing. I'll have you know. I would gladly wait in line for Luigi's, just so you know.
Christian worked at Luigi's. I thought he was going to go there. But the reason I wanted you to take Luigi's was so I could take Racers with my next pick. So.
I got my Dynaco shirt. We got cars going on. Yeah. I'm taking Radiator Springs Racers. But no, I think for the reasons I said, it saved California Adventure, and this attraction was the beacon of that. It wasn't flying tires, I'll tell you that. Mater's is cute, but Radiator Springs Racers is what saved that entire theme park. So, Amber, what do you think of me taking Radiator Springs Racers here in round one to try to combat that train pick?
You know, that was a good one. That, you know, those two head to head, that was a really good one. I love Radiator Springs Racers, and it's been fun as a mom watching my kids go on it because they go from terrified to absolutely joyful. I have the first video of my son going on it, and he's like this the whole time. It's really fun. I've often said, though, that I truly think that Radiator Springs could have been made into two different rides. And it's interesting that the Imagineers didn't do this, because if they did just the drive-through of the town for smaller folks, and then if they continued on to do the racetrack for those that met the height requirements, I think it would have been nice, because my boys, when they were younger, they really wanted to see Radiator Springs because they loved Lightning McQueen. But of course, they weren't tall enough, they weren't brave enough, and so then they had to wait until they could do the whole thing. So Imagineers, if you're listening, because I know that you listen to Drafting the Magic
Darn right
podcast, Yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't? For the next time, just an idea. But no, I love Radiator Springs, and you're right. It did totally. Cars Land totally changed the way that we approach DCA. It just totally. It's so
Mhm.
immersive and so just perfect. And if you go to Disneyland Paris and you go to Cars Land, you will be disappointed. So just
Yeah, and I will say something to your point of the height requirement. When I worked in Cars Land, that is a complaint we got daily, was that
yeah.
there was no, and because even Luigi's and Mater's were 32-inch height requirements.
Mhm.
So the youngest of kids cannot go on an attraction in that area. And I think, and Eric may have, some more thoughts on this. I think that's why Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway doesn't have a height requirement, because
Mm.
you needed to have an attraction that the family could go on, because they got flack for not having an attraction that everybody could go on. And Eric, Mickey and Minnie's great attraction, and I would even
Yeah.
say it's much more intense than Luigi's. So I'm just saying that tornado scene can, let me tell you, if I don't have
No,
my
he's
arm around
fine.
my 2-year-old, he's flying. But Amber does bring up a good point of, Cars Land, we need a ride. Can we get another Cars Land ride? Can we squeeze it
Yeah.
in somewhere? Come on. Does Flo's need to be that big? No. No one eats at Flo's that much. Anyway. All right.
Digress.
First of all, Cars Land's been open what, a dozen years now,
Uh-huh.
and Amber, that's an interesting comment because I've never heard anybody bring that up, that it should be split into two. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But
I
when
like
we're
that.
done when we're done recording here, I'm gonna chew on that a little bit. But
Uh-huh.
the height requirements all have to do with the actual safety restraints that you're wearing,
Right.
and the ride type of the vehicle. And in racers, right, you're lower to the ground and the sides are lower, right? You don't
Mm.
have like a barrier right here, really. So that's kind of where that comes in. And then when you talk about Runaway Railway, the barrier's kind of up here a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more, but there's also no safety restraints on that attraction.
It's
So
true.
Right.
uh, yeah, that's really where that comes into play. When
Mm-hmm.
you put a seatbelt in, and I worked at Star Tours for not a long time, but a short period of time, a long time ago. And the way the seatbelt goes in, the actual like notch of the seatbelt, the part that you actually plug in, since it's rigid a little bit like this, that means the seatbelt is elevated off of off of your lap, which is why the height requirement exists, is because if you're smaller, that thing really isn't holding you in place.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that's kind of where that comes from. So
Well,
but
even as an adult, the seatbelt will not necessarily fit tightly. So I get it. There have been
Mm-hmm.
times where the seatbelt is pretty loose and you feel yourself fly up.
yes,
And then we know that people were doing that on purpose, which they had to tell you not to do. But
yes. And
yeah,
the other part of that is being able to reach your feet and anchor yourself to the floor.
right.
So that those are the two main components with
Mm-hmm.
those requirements.
Oh my
But
gosh.
man, splitting that right into two.
Yeah, that's a
Never
great
thought of it.
thought. I
Never thought
love
of it
that
like that.
thought, because there
Disney,
is
you can
there
hire
is
me
something
any
to that.
day. I'm right
There
here.
Bring
there
her
is
in.
something to that, of like, if your kids could go and see, Sheriff and Doc
Yeah.
Hudson in there and all that kind of stuff. Because those animatronics, I mean, granted, those animatronics, like Eric said, 12 years old now, but those still stand up as some
Oh,
of
they're
my favorite at the
incredible.
resort.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because they're so real. Like, they're so,
Hmm.
I don't know, like, it feels like they're actually from the movie. So that's a pretty cool thought. And I like how much my thought has garnered conversation and meaning in this track. Look, I'm just trying to pull
We're
it.
here to serve the people,
Look at
Christian.
him.
Here we
Look at
are.
him.
Here we are. We're just trying. Anyway.
All right, round two. Here we go. So I have to take a plane or an automobile, so I went train there in round one. So I am gonna go plane.
Because you don't have to take automobile, because I can't take automobile. So yeah, we're playing this
You
game. We're
see,
here.
you get it. You get it. I can wait. Um, Although it doesn't really
Oh,
matter, I
the
guess.
spotting.
I could,
It
but
really
anyway,
doesn't matter. It's true, because I can't take anyway.
yeah.
The way
So
we do this is ridiculous. Anyway.
I'm gonna I'm gonna jump from Disneyland Park over to Disney California Adventure.
You haven't
Yeah.
been there in a while. You didn't go there at all last episode.
I
So
I I didn't. No, I
welcome
didn't.
back to DCA, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. But I feel I have to, because this attraction gets a lot of praise around the world.
No,
See?
how dare you? It's
See
not
what
a
I did?
plane. This is such a
You
stretch.
see what I did
I
there?
was
Get away
wondering,
from the camera.
does
I'm
it count?
Does it count?
Yep, we had to expand the world a little bit.
If
'cause
we're
there's not a whole
stretching
lot
to
of actual
space,
planes.
I think we can stretch to gliders, so I'll allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me soaring at number 2. I don't think there's a whole lot of other words to be said there. You are gliding and flying over everything in a glider, right? Not necessarily a plane, but it's close enough in this instance. So I'll leave it at that.
I don't know if I love this pick or not because, like, I don't know, like we're taking the actual vehicles themselves. Glider, okay, all right. Well, you take that, Amber. What do you think of soaring around the world and specifically cracking your neck at the Eiffel Tower? Oh wait, not anymore.
I love this attraction. I do not love soaring around the world.
No one does. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. If it was over California, right? Yeah.
If it was over California, I would say you got it. I mean, they even fly over my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's right.
but yeah, but soaring around the world, I mean, it's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous. My son actually loves to point out the different places that his mom has been.
Oh,
Like
that's cool.
like the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Oh.
He loves to say like, "Oh, Mom, you've been there. Oh, you stood on that bridge." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we discussed that the last 50 times." Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Having kids is great.
Yeah, they're so much fun. They remember everything.
Mhm.
And then they regurgitate it for the rest of your life.
Right.
So I do love this attraction. It's not one of my favorites, especially when it's not around California. If it was California, I would be so in. But
Yeah.
I mean,
We all wish over California
you know what it is?
here.
It's the smells. Like the fake smells are just, it's too much for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
If it still existed, I'd pick it, but it's not eligible because it doesn't exist. Yeah.
That's true.
That version of it anyway.
For now.
Yeah.
Until they bring it back.
Until they bring it back
for wine and food and
So
wine.
we'll do
and all
this
that
again when they bring it back.
There you go. There you
and
go.
then I'm totally in your corner.
There you go. There you go. I love it.
We'll get her back on the line just for one pick. Just
yeah.
Dub it in.
Soaring over California. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so round 2 for me, I can go either plane or I can go train. And so this comes down to, and I get both of them. So because Erik has to go somewhere else in the next round. So I'm going to go this just in order of my favorites of these things. I don't have to be strategic about this. And when Erik took my train that I wanted, there's an easy backup train that I wanted, and it's the one that is also known as the wildest ride in the wilderness. Give me the runaway train of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, or the ghost-controlled train, or however the story goes. If I'm thinking about trains, there's a close second to the one I immediately think of the Disneyland Railroad, and it's Big Thunder Mountain. Give me Big Thunder Mountain here in round 2, Erik.
Yeah, I think you and I had that same strategy. Big Thunder Mountain was my backup train also. Yep. And there was no way you or I were going to get both of them.
Sure. So no chance at all.
Yeah, it was definitely going to be a split there today in that.
Yep. All right, Amber, I know it's no Disneyland Railroad, but what do you think of Big Thunder Mountain's locomotive and train?
So the Big Thunder Mountain is actually my second favorite Disney attraction. Second favorite.
I like it.
Second favorite.
She hasn't let us know what number 1 is, which is interesting.
Well, let me ask this question, and this is just a yes or no. Does your first favorite attraction is it a plane, train, or automobile?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. All right.
Then it doesn't. Yeah, then we can't take it today. So that works out.
Unless a doom buggy counts.
I was going to say a doom buggy. That's Erik's favorite as well.
That's my favorite too. Yeah.
All right, but what do you think of Big Thunder Mountain here in round 2?
Besides it being Big Thunder Mountain, especially at night. So my husband and I have this thing where when the kids fall asleep, he'll go and park the kids by Rancho Zocalo because there's heaters. If you didn't know, there's heaters there and it's enclosed kind of, so it's nice and warm. And he'll sit there and play on his phone because my husband hates Disney.
Mm.
And I will ride Big Thunder over and over and over again at night. And it's my favorite attraction to close down the park on. It's just
it's
so
the
much
best.
fun, especially when you do the goat trick where you point your arms at the goat and you stare at the goat. Don't just stare at the goat. You have to point your arms at the goat.
Oh, yes. There we
Yeah.
go.
Like out. Yeah. So
I like that.
I love Big Thunder. I think it's so much fun. I love how your butt like lifts when you go over the hill. I just think it's so much fun. And especially if you're sitting next to someone where you can squish them,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you can really get the elbows in there, you know,
Yeah.
that's a lot of fun too. And
Can I
then if
just
you've been
say-
to
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, can I just say, when you started the sentence of your husband goes and parks the kids over at Rancho del Zocalo, I was so worried you were going to say, and then you both go on the attraction. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, we cannot air this.
Quite reached that level of giving up yet. I mean, you know, we're not quite there yet.
I was like, we can't
Not
air
quite.
this. We can't do that. Anyway,
Don't you
okay.
cast members? Isn't that when the cast members jump in and like
Yes.
take over?
All
Yeah.
CPS.
Hey, what's
my
going on?
gosh. Why'd you leave your kids here? Anyway, keep going. You were talking about Big Thunder. I just had this horrifying moment.
Gosh, that's so funny. Can you imagine? I'm tapping out. Disney magic.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I was gonna say, I especially loved it at Disneyland Paris because when it goes under the water, it goes really fast and it's dark.
That's something that neither Eric or I have experienced yet. But boy, do we want to. Oh my gosh, it sounds so cool.
Yeah.
My best Thunder Mountain memory still was when they did the 24-hour day on Leap Day.
Yeah.
However many years, the first one they did back in 2000. You can dub that in, Christian.
Yeah.
Was coming up over that last hill as the sun was coming up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That was cool.
That's nuts. That's
wow.
insane. You guys are insane. Anyway, all right. On to round 3 after I get a nice round 2 pick in here. I'm happy about that. Eric has already done a train. Eric has already done a plane, which means he's taking Autopia. Probably not. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Dr. Seuss. I appreciate that for the as we go into round number 3. So you gotta go with a vehicle here, or an automobile, as it were. And why not take an automobile to nowhere in particular, Christian? Because I'm taking Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, it's my second favorite attraction behind Haunted Mansion. So yeah, I'll take Mr. Toad. I mean, you get to hang on to the steering wheel if you're lucky enough to sit in that seat, and it's just a wild drive, right? So gotta go, Mr. Toad.
It is a wild drive. I don't necessarily love that attraction as much as the rest of all of you for some reason, but it is there is always something about being in the driver's seat and doing all the stuff. And as my son grows older and can be in that reaching for the that's going to be super cool too, so I'll give you that as well. Amber, what do you think of Erica going to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride here? Careful, Disney World people, don't listen. We don't love what you aren't allowed to have anymore. Don't worry. Anyway, Amber, what do you think of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride?
That's okay. They have a Country Bear Jamboree and we don't. So
that's true, but they don't have their island very much longer either. Remember that, Disney World people? Okay. Anyway.
Oh.
Game on. You cannot convince me that the wheel doesn't do anything. I'm absolutely 100% convinced that I drive myself through that ride. So first of all, there's that. I love this ride. I didn't used to get it. I'm like, what is the point? And I swear that hell used to be hotter. So maybe it's like as I'm older and I'm like my joints are like achy or something now. I'm like, oh, this was nice. I don't know. I swear it used to be like more intense and now it's balmy and nice. But I think it's fun. I think it's fun. My kids don't necessarily understand the references. They've watched Wind in the Willows. but it's not their favorite. So I think it's an interesting reference to kids. Like they don't really get the characters, they don't really understand the references. So I think it's nice to keep some of the nostalgia in there, but it's fun. It's a fun little ride.
Christian, you might know what I'm about to bring up. Amber, what you just said there is exactly why things are happening around the parks around the world. And I've said it 100,000 times on this podcast, but there's a reason why things get replaced, and that's it right there. The parks are for the younger generation. It's not for you and I anymore. And that's just the natural balance of things. So people get upset when things get removed, but this is why, right? I mean, who knows how much longer Mr. Toad has left?
Right.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think we talked about it on the last episode that 20 years from now, I don't know if Toad's there. I mean, are you going to really tell me that you're going to deny the opportunity of another princess ride to be shoehorned in there? I mean, for Mr. Toad, for this next generation, no one knows who Toad is. So, yeah, it'll be.
I would almost replace Pinocchio first.
Pinocchio is another one. Yep. Pinocchio.
I mean,
and I would even say, unless this Snow White movie hits it out of the park, I think Snow White's on the. Although they just redid all of that.
They just redid it.
That's probably a lot safer than. Yeah, that's probably a lot safer than Pinocchio and Toad for sure. But, that these classic rides. Are going to die out one day, and it might be in our lifetimes. And sure, we're all going to raise hell about it, but the next generation's going to prosper because they're not there anymore. So,
anyway.
We'll raise Inferno, Christian.
Yes.
We're talking about Mr. Toad.
Coming back.
All right, let's just move on, shall we? I'm going to go to my next pick, my round 3, and I'm realizing how much Eric has an upper hand in this draft because he can now take something that I didn't even realize I pigeonholed myself out of earlier in the draft. So now I can't take it this round, and he's got his first wild card round next. So he might go there, which I'm kind of annoyed about, but here we are. So I have to take a flying contraption. I'm not going to say plane because I'm not taking Goofy Sky School. And I think that's the only other, unless I'm forgetting something, that's the only other thing that qualifies as a plane, unless an elephant flying counts, but a boat flying doesn't. So anyway, we're just going to go to something that I think when they designed it, it was the coolest concept. And then when everyone got on it, they were like, I've already been on Star Tours. What's the big deal? But driving the Millennium Falcon is the coolest spaceship that Disney has right now. So give me the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run at Disneyland Park right here in round 3. I think there is something to the nostalgia of the Millennium Falcon. And I think if you just did the rest of the area like that, you might have more people on board with it. But at the same time, 20 years from now, are people really going to? Yes, they're going to remember the originals. Calm down, Star Wars people. But that next generation, that next generation wants their stuff too. So we'll see how Galaxy's Edge lives in the next 20, 30 years. I'm sure it'll be fine. But there was something to, especially when you turn the corner and you saw the Millennium Falcon sitting there. That is the coolest point of reference in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's the coolest look. None of those mountains really matter compared to that moment when you get to see the vehicle and then you get to live the childhood dream of piloting it. And even if you're not a Star Wars person, I hope you can accept that it's a really cool thing for all of us Star Wars people. Eric, give me Millennium Falcon here in round 3.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else. Honestly.
Okay. All right.
I did. And that may change my plan a little bit here moving forward.
Good. You thought I was going to take Astro Orbiter? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, I thought you were going Zephyr.
Yes.
What I was going to
say. Oh my gosh.
No, I like Smuggler's Run. I think I'm. Look, I don't know who the minority or the majority is. When I say minority, I think that just means in the social media minority nowadays. But no, I've always liked Smuggler's Run since the day I stepped foot in that cockpit. So.
Yeah.
No, it's a good pick. Yeah.
Super cool. I'm glad you liked it. But Amber, do you like Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run? She's gonna be like, I hate it.
No, I don't.
Let's go.
No, I love that attraction. Fun fact, I can only pilot left to right, or no, up and down. I cannot do left and right, or I will get sick.
Oh,
I never
interesting.
get sick, but I cannot pilot left to right. So fun fact. I love this attraction, and I was not a Star Wars person until I had children.
Mm-hmm.
I had boys, and my boys love Star Wars, and they brought me in, and now I'm like full on fan.
Yes.
So yeah, I loved it. We were actually there the opening day with the wristbands and
Oh, wow.
everything, and I remember walking around the corner and seeing Galaxy's Edge and just seeing the Millennium Falcon and thinking, this is this is phenomenal. Like this is something over the top and amazing. And as a new Star Wars fan at the time, I was in awe of what they had done in this place and in the space. And I think it's a really fun attraction. I love that my younger son was able to go on it because it does have a lower height restriction. So he was able to do it sooner than say like Rise of the Resistance or those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really fun. And I have heard from people that do get sick on Star Tours that they don't get sick on Millennium Falcon because they're interacting. So I do think that's a bonus.
It's the
But
3D
yeah.
glasses that kill me on Star Tours.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hate 3D.
I think it's a good like immersion into the Star Wars. It's like Star Wars for beginners, you know.
I hear
like
all
if
these
you're
people.
from-
I hear all these people, mad that Muppet Vision 3D is being taken out of Walt Disney World. I'm like, we just put Muppet Vision in without the 3D? Because I'd be there every day. But get the
So
3D.
I love that attraction. I
of
love that. I love it, but I don't go to Walt Disney World enough to have a vote. So
just make it not 3D and I'd be there every day. That's all I'm gonna say.
right.
Anyway, Eric, your round 4 officially in the wild card round. You can go wherever you want. You can take whatever plane, train, or automobile you want. Where are you gonna
World
go?
is your oyster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where you think I was gonna go to. There's one where I think you might think I would have gone there, but other than that, I'm not sure on the plane side. So we'll see if you go there or not.
We'll talk about it later. I've got 2 picks left that I want, and I think where I thought you were going to go
Interesting.
is one of those 2. So we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
It's not this one though, because I wanted to go with a touch more thrill and a touch more sensory enhancement, if you will.
Sensory enhancement.
So I'm going with a quote unquote train, and I'm going back to Toontown, man, and I'm taking Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at number 4.
Whoa! Yeah. I didn't even think of it being a train. Whoa!
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in the
I
name.
forgot that it's a train.
Railway, pal.
Whoa!
Yeah, so I'm going newer attraction here. I'm going with the whole what do they call it, 2.5D experience, as it were. I think they did a wonderful job with this attraction. I love how the queues now have stabilized. It's a lot easier to get on than when it first opened. The queue is amazing too, but mostly I have to take this because of the train. A train that breaks apart, by the way, and then comes back together in the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm going with number 4.
Whoa, what a call. What a call going Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Not where I thought you were going to go in round 4. And I'm actually quite excited about that, but we'll see if what I'm excited about even pays off or if Amber hates that. But we'll see. Amber, what do you think of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway here?
It's so cute. It's so fun. It's so fun. We actually wrote it in Walt Disney World before we knew that it was coming to Disneyland. And when my boys heard that it was coming to Disneyland, they were very excited. Fun fact about me, I hated Toontown. There was never enough seating. It was always super crowded. My kids never really wanted to do anything there. We don't like that other ride that's over there, the one about the rabbit. Yeah, we don't like that ride.
Scratching that off my list of vehicles, all right?
Vehicles, yeah, automobiles. No taxi cabs.
No taxi cabs in this draft. So we never really went to Toontown. It was just everyone just knew that Amber doesn't go to Toontown. We just never went back there. And now that this attraction is there, it's an absolute must. We go there. We spend a lot of time there. The food is good there. I think it just changed the whole dynamic of Toontown. And the attraction is a lot of fun, and we get into it, we dance, and I love it. I think it's so much fun. And and that little bird, Chubby, what is his name? Chubby.
Chubby,
I
yeah,
really
yeah,
think, yeah, Disney, if you could lean more into the bird, that would be great. We could get
Mhm.
more bird
Yep.
merchandise.
Merchandise.
That would be,
Let's go.
yeah, more.
So
More.
interesting. The interesting fact about Toontown, and Amber and I were talking about this before we started recording, that we both grew up in areas pretty close to each other, as it turns out, and that where we grew up really didn't have a lot going on for itself until we left. I used to work in Toontown, and then I
Yeah.
left, and then look what happened. Yeah.
Look what
So-
happened. Yeah.
Same thing. It follows me wherever I go.
Leave. Yeah. When we leave, the magic happens, and then we come
Yeah.
back and we can
So,
enjoy it.
Everybody, where's your favorite land in the park that you want redone? Everyone says,
Yeah.
Eric, go to Tomorrowland, and then
We're out
leave.
of there.
Well,
Visit.
I already left Tomorrowland once, and that
And they haven't
I
done
tried.
a thing.
I haven't done a thing.
They updated Star Tours, so that maybe
Yeah.
it's just because you
Yeah.
didn't work enough in the land and you just worked Star Tours, so they updated.
Yeah,
Star
so they
Tours.
updated that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys got that Ghost Galaxy for a while, remember?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
screaming
gosh.
ghost.
Don't get me started on Dolores the Screaming Ghost. Anyway,
Dolores.
all right, okay. So Eric goes Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway in round 4.
No.
So he has now taken 2 trains. We'll see if he takes a third. But I am not going to go train here. I am going to go automobile here. That I thought was a hole-in-one for Eric to take in round 4, but he didn't. So I'm going to go to Adventureland, and I'm going to get on Indiana Jones Adventure in that Humvee, because that is one of the best automobiles that there is at the Disneyland Resort. And it's highly regarded as one of everybody's favorite rides in Disneyland because of what that automobile can do. So give me Indiana Jones here. I'm shocked that Eric didn't take it at 4. But I also
it breaks too much for me.
Oh, that's fair. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Never mind. Take it back. No, I'm kidding. But I also wasn't thinking of Mickey and Minnie's as a train. So we really don't know what I'm doing here.
I didn't realize dependability was part of the factor.
Yeah, wait a second. Hold on. Well, then Golden Zephyr definitely can't be on the list, because anytime you sneeze, it goes down.
It goes down.
But
you got to turn it off.
oh my God. But yeah, give me Indiana Jones here, Eric. Is that the only reason you didn't take it, was because of how much it breaks down? Because if so, I would like to go back to all of the drafts where you've taken this and redraft.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reevaluate if that's a criteria. I didn't realize.
We'll go back and dub in me being like, oh well, you know, oh you gotta sell your picks, man. That's how we roll.
That's fair.
Gotta sell them.
All right, Amber, what do you think of Indiana Jones Adventure here and the Humvee going in round 4?
It's super fun. I was actually also there for opening weekend, and I still have my original AT&T card.
The decoder card. Yeah.
The decoder card. And fun fact, they still give them out. So, but most cast members, I guess, only have one. So a lot of times I can't get one because they've already given them out for the day. I don't know. You guys, how many do you get a day? I don't know. But it's fun. It's a fun attraction. I miss the old elements. And I know that the lines are not long enough now because you breeze right through, whereas in the beginning, the lines were hours, right?
Yeah.
So you had to have all those interactive elements in the lines and the bricks and the falling and but now it's not the same because I remember it. My son doesn't remember it. So he's just like, let's get to the ride. And meanwhile, I'm like, but I want this and I want this. And so for me, there's not quite that same feeling because to me, it feels broken, but it's not broken. It's just, you get on it faster. Whereas for him, he doesn't remember. He doesn't know that there's elements missing that build you up to the ride. Now, I will say, dependability wise, this is the ride that lets me down the most because when we do rider switch, inevitably, when it's mom's turn to go on this attraction, I swear of any attraction in the park, this is the one that breaks down when I am trying to take my turn. So while I love this attraction, we don't have a good relationship. Our working
Dependability ain't great.
relationship is a little spotty.
That's
So,
fair. That's fair. And I think that's
you know,
everyone's relationship
I
with it,
can't
except
count
for,
on him when I really need him.
wow.
So,
Wow.
And
This
Q
just got so deep.
Q
yeah.
engineering is quite an art form, right? Because you build all of that Q space knowing this thing is going to be a hit, and then after a few
Yeah.
years, it's like you don't need all that anymore.
Right.
Expand the
Yeah.
jungle cruise. Anyway,
Right.
except that's where the exit is, so you'd have to. Anyway, you'd have to do a lot of. Anyway,
Uh,
so that is round 4, which means that brings us into the final round. I have now figured out where I think Eric is going with this, because he thought I was going to go with a flight, or well, something that flies. We won't call it a plane, but something that flies. I think I know where you're going with this, but Eric, your round 5 pick, sir.
I can't believe you never took it, and I feel good about things. I mean, obviously we'll find out here in a few minutes, but I don't have a real big thrill element in my group of 5 yet, and I'm glad I got to wait till the end to take it. But man, that rocket is just sitting there waiting for me to call out its name. I'll take Space Mountain at number 5. I need to get my thrill element, your big e-ticket attraction. So yeah, I'm going Space Mountain at number 5.
That's where all of a sudden it clicked. I was like, oh, he thinks I'm going to go Space Mountain. That rocket's just so boring. There's nothing special about the rocket. There, I said it. Anyway, but that's my opinion.
It is nothing special.
It has
about a
onboard
rocket
audio.
that
You're
has
right. I know.
onboard audio. That
I
is
know.
the first
I
one to
know.
ever do that.
But Florida's Space Mountain's better than ours. So
Oh
anyway.
my God.
I will take Florida and raise you Disneyland Paris.
Oh,
Thank you
well,
very much.
dude,
Yeah,
right.
I would. Yeah, Disneyland. I mean, I've never been there, but it has an inversion, and that's all I need.
Oh
I'm
my
good.
Far
gosh.
superior.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I just didn't want to take something that she would be like, oh no, Paris is better.
It
So
is.
even though I took Big Thunder and she said that anyway. Anyway, Eric, not Eric, Amber, what do you think of Eric's pick here as Space Mountain at Disneyland? I know it's not Paris or Florida, but what do you
I'll
think?
try not to compare. I love this attraction. I think it's so much fun. And, I mean, it's one of those things where it's as thrilling as you're going to get at Disneyland. So
Mhm.
it's fun. I like it, especially when it's not one of the overlays like Ghost Galaxy or whatever. I like the original hyperspace or whatever it's called. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of those rides where I'm always afraid to put my hands up, because like you don't.
You just don't know where that thing is, and
That's what everybody's biggest concern on there. And I don't care if you even tried to lift yourself out of your seat a little bit. You ain't getting anywhere near
nope,
those
yeah,
beams.
they would
So
never
don't
let
even
you
worry.
on that
Sure.
ride.
Well, absolutely,
They would
yeah,
never
of
let you on the
course,
ride, but we all think
yeah.
it in the back of our heads. We're like,
It's like it's right there, right? Just like right there.
Right? It
Disney-
looks like it. Yeah,
Disney
in the
Worlds,
dark.
I've always felt like I have to duck. Like I think I'm going to hit my head. Like
Yeah.
obviously they would never let that happen. So,
And
all right.
also, the best version of Space Mountain was when the Red Hot Chili
Red Hot Chili
took it
Peppers.
over.
Yes.
That was
it's
awesome.
So good.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Give me back. Bring me back. Can we do that again? Like,
I know.
come on.
Gosh, there's got to be some band out there.
There's gotta be.
It's got a rock song like that. Oh, the
I'll tell
Muppets.
you,
That's
the only
it.
Oh, the
part.
Muppets do.
Oh yeah, right. The craziest part about this attraction, though, is loading and unloading in 20 seconds. Like that
Yep.
to me is the wildest thing. Like you're just like, okay, are you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yep.
Now go. Now go.
Now
Now
go.
go.
Jump fast. The train's gonna leave with that. You only got one leg in. Anyway, all right. So that is your round 5 pick. So you said, oh, I don't have really thrill, so I'm gonna go thrill at the end. Mine's the exact opposite. I've only been thrill to this point. So the question is, do I stay thrill or do I take things easy? Do I slow things down? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I knew when we first pitched this idea of planes, trains, and automobiles, I knew I was going here with my 5th round pick, because I figured it wouldn't get picked because it's not popular. It's so unpopular that they're taking it out in the early part of 2025. Give me the red car trolley down Buena Vista Street and Hollywood Boulevard as a train here in round 5. That that vehicle, that attraction, granted, I used to work on it, so there's a huge bias there. But if you haven't ever been on the trolley, go on the trolley before they close it down, and appreciate the cast members that put so much into that attraction and just what it's like to take a nice little trolley down 1920s Hollywood. Like, there's something so cool about that attraction that I think a lot of people didn't get. I don't even blame them for taking it out because I know they've got to go bigger and better here. But I think that as it stands, this might be the last opportunity I get to take the red car trolley in a draft. So I'm going to
Aw.
do it. Give me my trolley. I'm going to cry. So I'll just turn it over to Eric. Eric, you can throw it to Amber when you want. Here we are.
Yeah, I knew you were
Aw.
gonna. I knew you were gonna take it eventually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just
Oh,
so sad, but I get it.
I,
I understand.
Aw.
I,
Oh,
yeah, I was waiting for you to do it. So I
mhm.
was actually getting ready to type it in as you
Yep.
said it. So
Hmm.
I knew you'd go there.
Well, I mean, respectfully, there's not really that many great options left on the board anyway. I don't know. I could have gone a couple of different places, but go with my heartstrings. Go with a something that it's a big deal in that park. As much as it doesn't seem like it, that entrance. I mean, the Red Car Trolley Newsboys show was on there for the longest time. There was
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
that attraction hosted a lot. So this is a little homage in my final round to the Red Car Trolley. Amber, have you, let's be honest, have you ever been on the trolley? Because I know there's so many people that haven't.
So I actually just went on the trolley for the first time when I was there, what was it, a week or two
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Mm-hmm.
for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I rode it, I rode it from the first stop to Carthay Circle. So just
Just a
a
short
blip,
little jaunt.
a short little jaunt. Just to say that I had, and I got to meet Joe, the cast member,
I
who
know
was,
Joe.
yes, he
Oh.
was phenomenal. We were delayed, and he was just trying to make everyone happy. And he was just, oh, he was the sweetest little man. And I gave him a cast compliment, and he was phenomenal. And I really appreciated everyone that was working on the trolley. And I appreciate the trolley, but I do understand why it's being removed.
Yeah.
You can't load that many
Mm-mm.
people. We had one extra person, so they had to walk. I mean, it's so limiting in so many factors.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the nostalgia, for the photo opportunities, I have many photos of myself standing next to the
Mm-hmm.
trolley. Um, I get it, but in terms of like serving the parks itself,
It's time.
it's time. It doesn't
Yep.
meet the needs, but I do love it in terms of like the nostalgia and the photo opportunities. So I
As
get where, yeah, I
as
get it.
soon as they put the tracks going through, I mean, they left the tracks there going through Avengers Campus. I was like, well, this has got a time limit on it because there's no way they're just going to keep this here. Like, there's no
Right.
way.
Right.
And the real reason it's being removed is not all of those reasons we just listed. It's because they need space to build these new attractions backstage, and there is
Right.
a very large building that takes up a lot of space, not only above ground but underground, to take care of those trolleys. So I don't know if that pulling that curtain back a little too much on the cast member side, but I get it. You gotta move forward. But give me my trolleys here in round 5, Eric. I'm just so sad about it, Eric. But I get it. I
Aw.
get it at the same time, Eric. I understand. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm gonna
I
put
know. Yeah.
handcuffs on me and the trolley on the last day, like all those people did to us when we closed Tower of Terror. And I was like, but we're still gonna get rid of it. Like, I don't think
Yeah, I don't know what you think you're doing.
we can arrest you. We can't, like, I can't change Imagineering's mind, but I can arrest you. Like,
I never went on our Tower of Terror, actually.
it was overrated. There, I said it. Anyway, compared to the
I,
compared to the
Chris,
theming in Florida and the thrill of the new one here and the theming of Guardians here, ours was kind of overrated. There, I said it.
Christian, you couldn't be more wrong. It was
All right,
not
then.
it was not kind of overrated. It was completely overrated.
There we go. Oh my gosh.
I rode that attraction probably 400 or 500 times too in its
Yeah.
original version. But
Mhm.
once we got Guardians, man, it was game over. And
So
especially once I went to Florida and rode the one
yeah.
out there, then it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Anyway,
That was the first one I went on.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, the one in Florida had the better theming. It was not as fast as the one here.
That's why I like it.
So Oh,
Well,
see,
wait.
there you go.
Well, wait a minute though. You've been to Paris, right? Did you ride the one in Paris?
Yeah, so that one actually tricked me because I thought it would be like the one in Florida because
Yeah.
it's
But
also
it's
Tower of
not.
Terror, but it's more similar to ours
It's ours.
here.
Yep.
Yes. So
So
you
I was
Copy.
basically,
very upset about being duped
yeah,
by
yeah.
Disneyland Paris.
Mhm.
I only go on Guardians via peer pressure, and I proceed to scream profanity the entire time. And the only time that I open my eyes is for the picture at the top.
Hmm.
And otherwise,
Nope.
not my favorite.
That's
It's not my
fair.
favorite.
That's fair.
It's just so unhinged. Why does it have to go up and down so many times? I don't
That's
understand.
fair.
It's
That's
just too much.
very fair.
All right, Christian, that's going to do it for today's draft. So let's take a look at the recap here, and then we'll get Amber's thoughts here in a moment. So, uh, I went number one today. I keep thinking this is the last episode. All right. Well, my first pick, I took the Disneyland Railroad. At number 2, I went Soarin'. At number 3, Mr. Toad. Number 4, Runaway Railway. Number 5, Space Mountain. Christian, who had the second pick today, started with Radiator Springs Racers, then Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Indiana Jones Adventure, and the Red Car Trolley. Now, before we ask Amber who won this episode of Drafting the Magic, Amber, we want your thoughts. What did we miss? What would you have included in our lists?
Astro Orbiter.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa. Love for the Astro
Astro
Orbiter.
Orbiter. It is a must for me. The rockets were my favorite ride when I was a kid. My biggest heartbreak is when they moved them down from up
Oh,
above.
100%.
And it is a must for me. I go on it every single time, especially at night. Yeah, I'm heartbroken that neither one of you picked it because that would have been like an immediate ding.
Jeez, way to go, Eric.
Yeah, way to go.
I never think about it because as a tall person, I don't really fit in there all that well.
Well, I mean, you should try it with 2 kids. It's super fun.
Yeah,
Oh my
I'll get right on that. Yeah.
I'll lend you mine. It's fine.
Okay.
This is not the first time a guest judge has said they'll lend their children to Eric.
Oh.
Which is a wild thing that it's like.
Well, I'm already
it's weird that it's happened twice.
Why not lend them out to a cast member? It's fine.
Oh my gosh, it's so
true.
funny.
Yeah, Christian said, "I can't believe it's happened twice. That's not a lot."
Yeah,
just the fact
it's just that it's happened twice.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh! All right, Astro Orbiter. Anything else that we missed? Should we have? Well, you already said not Roger Rabbit.
Not Roger Rabbit. That ride is so boring and
That's
like
so
it
funny
never
because it was one of my
spins
backup
properly.
options.
Never spins properly, and
No,
it's just and the line is always so long. Like, why? What do these people know that I don't? I don't understand. You also forgot Casey Jr.
Oh, Casey Jr. I didn't even remember Casey Jr. in all of this.
It was on my backup list.
Eric's driven that direction.
I have driven that train.
Which also doesn't help because he's a tall person.
I injured the first time I climbed into that driver's seat. I injured myself. It was great.
How tall are you?
I'm only 6'3".
He's not that tall.
Again,
6'3".
Those attractions were not made for people like me.
Well, I'm 5'9" plus the ears, and my boys always wanted to ride in the cages, and I'm like, no, because mommy can't get into the cage.
Yeah,
it's too, So we always did the
caboose. Yeah,
if I get in the cage, I'm not getting out. I'll tell you
getting out of it.
Exactly. Mommy lives here now. We live here now. It's fine.
Yeah, this is where we live.
Mommy, you always said you wanted to live at Disneyland.
Give me a churro. It's fine. No, we always rode in the caboose, and they would pretend that they were driving, and it's so much fun.
Those are two good spots. Two good Casey Jr. That's a sneaky train that I completely forgot about. I just forgot that there were so many trains. That's really what the problem is.
So fun. And I gotta say, I gotta give love to Golden Zephyr. I like Golden Zephyr, even though that poor thing, just like you said, you sneeze and it's like, oh, I need a break. It's
You do
Yeah.
get some. It is a nice calm ride on the pier.
Yeah.
And I will even say jumping jellyfish is a nice calm ride on the pier. That doesn't mean I think we should still keep jumping jellyfish, but it's a nice relaxing view when you're up there.
But the kids love that ride,
The
so
kids
you know.
love jellyfish, but
Yeah.
no, Zephyr is a good calm one. It is the exact opposite, I think, of Silly Symphony Swings, where you're like moving quick and stuff like that. Zephyr, you get a little bit more time to just appreciate the view.
I refuse to go on the swings. I'm terrified that they're like one's gonna break off
Oh,
and you're
100%.
gonna
It's gonna
see like
happen.
my ass, excuse me, my bottom flying through the air over Paradise Pier, and there she goes, and you will never see her again.
Oh
No, I
my
will not.
gosh. I've
I
had the
will
same
not
thought.
go.
I've
I
had
will
the
not go
same
on
thought
that
of
ride.
like, can I swim? Like if I
Yeah,
hit the water, will I be able to swim or will I be shocked? I
I
don't know
will
what's gonna
not.
happen.
I
So,
will not go on that attraction. Absolutely
oh,
not.
that's funny.
I
That's
haven't
so
been
funny.
on either three of them, and I don't plan on it.
Yeah,
Can
that's fair.
I just ask a question, cast members? Why doesn't Jumpin' Jellyfish have a soundtrack? Why is it one cast member saying "Jumpin' Jelly,
Jump,
Jumpin'
jump,
Jelly"?
jelly. Jump,
What?
jump, jelly. My
Can
favorite
you
part is
not
that
afford a soundtrack? What
no,
is
they can't. No,
happening?
no.
Oh, we have no money.
No,
No money.
the company doesn't have any money. They don't make any
Nope.
money on people
That's
spending
why you
four
have
hundred
single ply
dollars a
toilet
day.
paper.
That's why
Yeah.
$400
Yeah.
a day to get on your attractions. That's what's paying for the single
Yeah,
ply toilet paper. Anyway,
absolutely. I get it. I
no,
get
my
it.
favorite part is that they'll give the cast members an opportunity to sing their own song. And so there's from High School Musical to Hannah Montana. I've heard some great throwback Disney songs,
It
but
just makes me
changed to
laugh.
jumping.
It's
So
always like some pained young kid, like jumping jelly, jumping jelly.
oh, it's so funny because my wife used to work that attraction. That's why I think this is the funniest thing because there are some horror stories I've heard
There
of
are.
the
And of course, I make
jellyfish.
my husband take the kids on that. I won't go on it. So
Oh yeah, of
I get
course.
to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh my
Nope.
gosh, so good, so good. All right, well, you've heard the lists. We've heard
I have.
Amber's thoughts on what we missed, which are apparently some good ones, and jumping jellyfish, but I don't think that was part of this. Anyway, Amber, let's turn it over to you. Who won this episode of Drafting the Magic?
So are we playing for blood? Were we playing for money or drinks? What are we playing?
Ooh, I
We
think we're gonna.
decide,
I
We
like the
talked
idea of
about a
drinks.
trophy. We talked about a trophy, but drinks so much
Yeah.
nicer.
right? Well, I
Not
am
a
the
bad
wine
idea.
country moms, so
It's true.
It's
drinks
true.
would be appropriate.
Mhm.
Yellow cups only. Um, you know what? You both made some excellent points, and Eric, you came out swinging with the railroad, but I gotta give it to Christian. Overall, he had the Millennium Falcon, he had Thunder Mountain, and
Mhm.
yeah, Christian, overall, you did it.
That's
This
two
year,
in a row, two
this,
game
ye-
lead. Let's
Uh-oh,
go.
this
three
year
and
could
it's a
not.
turkey.
This year could not go any worse for me.
Uh-oh. Well, have me on again. We'll discuss your answers in advance. And
Yeah,
then
yeah. We'll have her on when Soaring Over California is back, and then you might have
yeah.
won this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get
Yeah,
my
you missed the
insiders
mark
on
on
that.
that one, dude. Like that fake Fiji smell just did it in.
Oh,
You
jeez.
can't win with that. So sorry.
I hate the fake smells on Soaring Around
I
the World. There, I
do.
said it.
I
Oh,
do.
hey, here's a can of Febreze. Like,
Like,
bruh.
and of course, we get the one judge that has traveled internationally.
Yep.
I am sorry. I
Oh
am
my
so sorry.
gosh.
I didn't
No,
realize I needed to give my prerequisites.
no, and I'm actually glad you didn't, because that kind of speaks to the authenticity of what we're doing around here. We don't know what you like. We don't
Mhm.
know where you've been, so we
Right.
really have no idea. The guessing game continues.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. I love this, and I love that I got the W. Thank you to Amber for that. Amber, thank you for joining us. This has been
Of
so much fun.
course.
Thank you for taking time out of your vacation to join us here on Drafting the Magic. Before you leave,
My
remind
pleasure.
everybody where they can find you, how they can find you, and all the cool Disney stuff you got going on the socials.
Well, I'm on Instagram at the Wine Country Moms with an S, and on TikTok, the Wine Country Mom,
Ooh,
just with a
the first
mom.
one on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and so right now I'm just posting a lot of the Christmas stuff that's going on, and I just did a VIP tour with the famous Philander, so I'm going to be posting about that, and yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And if you're in Northern California, also, I'm the right person to talk to.
Let's go. Give Amber a call. Follow her on, well, don't give her a call. We're not giving out her phone number here. But follow her on Instagram and
951,
TikTok.
so
951.
951. You know,
951.
a couple more guesses and we'll get the last 7 numbers. Amber, thank you so much for joining us. And hey, we'll
Thank
see you next
you.
time.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
2 in a row, baby. We're back. Two game lead for the first time this season for me. I think. I don't remember.
I was gonna say, I feel like it was more,
I
but
don't
all
think it
right.
was, but
I'll feel better then in that case.
who knows? Yeah, I feel better, but whatever. But it feels fantastic to get this W here, especially on your buddy's suggestion for a topic. That's always a nice win in the back of my book, and I'll take it. And I was very surprised you didn't go Indiana Jones. I was so surprised you didn't go Indiana Jones in round 4.
Yeah, no, I had a plan. I stuck with
Mhm.
the plan.
Yeah, you went on the choo
That's really,
choo that I forgot was a choo choo. So
it was one thing that we didn't mention, which is probably a big one, is
Mm.
the monorail.
The monorail. I forgot about the
Yeah,
monorail too. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good train. It's such a weird, like it takes you to the west side of downtown Disney, which still having an identity crisis. So, you know,
man, when that's all done,
oh, it's gonna be
I mean, look,
amazing.
the monorail now is still such a novelty for a lot of people.
Mm,
You go in the park and you hear them all the time. We got to ride the monorail.
yeah,
It's like doesn't go anywhere, but okay.
yeah. It just comes back to here. What if one day they built a third park and you could take it anyway? These are
Oh boy.
these are wild dreams that we all have. The problem is because like in Disney World is perfect because none of the stations are in the theme parks. So
Yeah.
you can take a monorail from Magic Kingdom. Here, I mean, you got to worry about having a park hopper
Mhm.
if you know, it's just and
Yeah.
that monorail station is a landmark, right? So they can't knock it down. It's a
Can't
historical
move it.
landmark. So
And
like
folks, as we like to say every time we talk about the monorail, the downtown Disney station never moved. Just
no, it didn't.
remember that. It's
No,
always been
it's been
there.
there.
It's where it's always been. They
Yeah.
didn't move it.
Although it's not a landmark, so they could knock it down. I mean,
Yeah,
but then where do you go? Or do you just make a loop? You know, then do you randomly just make a loop to the west side of Anaheim and then come back? Or
I
do you,
know.
there's always that. What do you do if that,
Well,
and
they had plans for a long time to make that thing go down toward, Angel
mm-hmm,
Stadium and everything, and now who knows with what that new portion that's going to be built on the Toy Story lot is going
mm-hmm.
to bring. Do you expand it over there?
Do you make
Yeah.
a big old monorail system? It'd be cool. It'd be cool.
Skyway.
If we do that, can we have the cool lights like Walt Disney World has for Christmas where it turns red? I'm just saying. Anyway,
What about Skyliner? Let's put a Skyliner there.
I think the thought. I think Skyliner is the thought, but whether it goes all the way down to the Anaheim Resort transit area or whatever the
That's
stupid
too far.
the
That's too
art
far.
what a dumb area.
Arctic.
Yeah, that dumb. Um Regardless, I think Anaheim's got some growing to do with planes, trains, maybe not planes. I don't think they're going to fly, but John Wayne's down the street. But trains
Trains
and
and
automobiles,
automobiles.
a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities there. This was a good draft. I think this is a good way
Yeah.
of bringing in a bunch of. We should do more of these where we do a boat draft or something like that. Like we can
Mhm.
we can do this. So
The
and
possibilities are endless, my friend.
they
And
are.
also, I should say, give a big shout out to my friend Jessica, who gave us the idea for the show today.
Thank you, Jessica. I don't think I've ever met you, but thank
No,
you.
I don't think you have.
All right, well,
But
maybe one
maybe,
day, Jessica.
maybe,
Anyway,
maybe once. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out.
who knows? Well, it's probably not important to this podcast. But
No, not even a little bit.
what is important to this podcast is that I got a W here in episode 8 of season 3, 2-game lead. We're gonna have to start scoreboard watching because this
We're getting there.
season's moving along, and we're gonna start having to. But is there a drink on it? Do I get invited to a drink, or do you get invited to a drink at the end of this? It's not a terrible
It's not a bad idea.
concept. I need a bigger budget in my back pocket, but we'll see. Anyway, That being said, make sure you like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, still like it.
Just a like.
I don't care. Just like it.
Just do it.
Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and all of the social medias. Make sure you ring that notification bell so that you never miss another episode of Drafting the Magic. We are deep into the holiday season now, Eric. I'm hungry. I'm gonna leave. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.